Okay, in this video, we're going to replace this hex cam with a different shape cam. So we've made a pair cam already. So that needs to be moved, that part file needs to be moved in with the rest of the files for the automata. If you want to try a different one besides the pair cam, just move that part file in with the rest of these. Okay, back to here. We're going to take our hex cam and we're going to delete it. So I clicked on it and I just hit the delete button. Without the hex cam there, this can spin freely, but you'll notice this isn't moving anymore because it's not following anything. So we're going to bring in the pair cam, or whichever cam you want, and we're going to click. So something that I've done already that you may want to do, we want the different planes of each axis labeled, so or visible. So here's the pair cam. If we expand the pair cam box, and then we'll see the origin. There's the YZ plane, XZ plane, and XY plane. Having all of these be visible will be helpful to us. So if you right click on it and check visibility, once it's checked, then you should be able to see it. So I went through and I made each one visible, so there should be a check mark by each one. We may also need to do that with our follower. So what we want to do is we want to constrain our new cam to our axle, and we also want it to be lined up properly. There are multiple ways to do this to get it to work, so whichever way makes sense to you is fine, but I'm going to show you probably the simplest way. So we're going to start with a mate constraint, and if you zoom in, we can mate the axle of this one to the axle of our follower. You have to make sure that the arrows are pointing so that you can see the arrows. So if we click apply, so this is on the axle. You can see it's still spinning freely, which we'll have to fix that, but it's on the axle. A common mistake that will probably happen, so I'm going to undo that constraint. If you constrain and if you get the edge and you get the edge, you're going to get something like this. This is not going to work. There's probably 4 or 5 more variations of where you can click to get them to stay together, but there's only one way to get it so that it is free to move around on the axle. So I'm going to show you how to do that one more time the proper way. So we want to get that center line, and we want to get the center line over here. Click apply, and now we've got our pair cam on our axle. Okay, the next thing, I want this pair cam to be lined up perfectly with our follower. So I've got an axis, or a work plane. I can constrain this work plane to the center of the work plane of one of these. But if we look carefully, there is no work plane that's parallel with this one. So I'm going to find my follower. If you click on it, highlights over here, which is helpful. I'm going to go to the origin, and I want to find the work plane that I need. I think it was this one. So we're going to make this one visible. So if I change my view slightly, let's see. Let's find the right one. So it is not the XZ plane. That disappears. So it was the first one. I had it right the first time. There we go. So I'm going to constrain, I'm going to mate this plane to this plane, and that will keep it centered. So we're going to go to constraint, we're going to go to mate, and I want this one. We could also do flush. Let's do the flush because then I don't have to change views. This one is going to be flush with this one. We click apply, And now, so this one is locked in the center. It's obviously not done yet, but it's staying in the center, which is exactly where I want it to be. So these two planes are together. So I flushed those two together. The next thing I want this to stay with the handle. So I want the handle and the pair to stay together. So I can do the same thing. I can flush or mate this one with this one. Click apply. Now I can get them to spin together. Okay. So the last thing that we have to do is I want this follower to move up and down with the edge of my cam. So the best way to do this one, there's actually only one way to do this one. We're going to go to constraints, and there's a transitional constraint. So we have to change to our transitional constraint tab. There's only one. And what we want to do is we want the bottom of our follower, so this part right here, I want it to transition with the edge of my pair cam. Now, I've done this probably 100 times, and I would say more than half the time it does not work on the first try. So if it doesn't work, just try it again. But if it works properly, when you move your handle, the cam should go up and down with it. So if you can spin the handle and your cam moves and the follower moves, then you were successful in what you're supposed to do. And now you can go back and measure the displacement of your cam. So good job. That's the end of the video.